Folks, there are major news. The free agency is just starting today at 3 p.m. It's actually lunchtime right now. So, depending on the time that you watch, a lot of new things might have come. But there are multiple updates for the Warriors right now. We're going to talk about Giannis. The Warriors are a favorite landing spot for Giannis. We're also going to talk about another center that could be a major piece in the Warriors roster right now. The Warriors are just being gifted with some opportunities. We have already let pass some of them, so we cannot miss any more trade opportunities right now. Joe Lacob, Mike Dunleavy Jr., they need to do something. Every Warriors fans is waiting for that trade right now. We're also going to talk about some of the players in the roster that the Warriors have extended their team option, some that they have not, so you know who is leaving, who is staying. So let's start with Giannis, right? This is the news that came up, and you might have seen or not, but the Giannis, it is still being considered a trade. He's still in conversations with the Bucks, and one of the favorite landing spots for Giannis is Golden State. Uh, Let me talk to you later. I want to give you the other updates, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna I'm gonna show you how the roster would shake, which players we would have to let it go, and how our cap space would look like if Giannis is coming to the Warriors. There's one major player that needs to leave, right? We know it's not Stephen Curry, but who is that? So, and before that, the other massive opportunity that the Warriors are having right now to solve the problem that all of us want, having size. And this guy is fresh news, is Deandre Ayton. Deandre Ayton signed, like they agree with the Portland Trail Blazers in a buyout. So he's a free agent right now. He could be one of the, and if not the most, but the biggest name in the free agents. He's a center. I know. I'm not gonna get any details from his analytics here, but what I'm give you is that he's not a stretch big. He's not someone like Quinton Post that is gonna shoot threes, but he's gonna solve a major piece for us, rebounding, being that strong presence at the rim. He has got last season alone 10 rebounds per game average. Has suffered with injuries, but I really trust that the Warriors could be a major place for him. You signed Deandre Ayton for a 10 million contract, for example, in this free agents, and he could solve a big problem for us. Being that strong guy, immediately would be in the starting position, being that presence at the rim, being able to move Draymond Green out of the center position, and you don't need to rely. You're gonna rely on him for that mid range, for that layup. So it's something that we want. We all Warriors fan right now want to be out of that small ball lineup, and the under Ayton is the perfect opportunity for that. The Warriors are being gifted this guy as a free agent that wasn't expected. That's fresh news. We should take this opportunity. I think like the guy that was the second round pick, if I'm not wrong, in his draft year, has been ups and downs. He was part of the Phoenix Suns that went to the conference finals. So he really should. I think he's a guy that the Warriors could take advantage, and we should. And he's a free agent, so you could just sign him 10 million. You won't hurt the cap space, and I'm gonna show you that in a moment. Before we get there, coming back to talk about Giannis, let me show you a few more team updates, right? So the Warriors extended their player option on Quinton Post and Gui Santos. Gui Santos, that as me, is a guy from Brazil. So I was vouching for him to stay in the team. I'm super happy with that. Glad that we're going to still see the hustle. And I still believe in Quinton Post. I think he's going to get more body. He's a rookie. He's going to get stronger. He's going to develop. He's a shooter. I like the different type of play that he brings, right? So, for example, you combine having a guy as Aiton as your starting center, and then you have Post as your backup center. You have two different centers there that you can change the way that the game is going. You can adjust that for some specific game situation versus like a shooter stretching the floor versus a stronger presence. So I like the mix there. I think it was a great move from the Warriors. And then after that, who also is getting opportunities, the Australian guy that we haven't seen yet in the starting spot, Tara, but he's gonna be in the California Summer team and the roster. So we're gonna have an opportunity to look more into him. He was really praised it in the G League last season. So I expect to see more of that in the roster this year, and also because of the moves that I'm expecting the Warriors to do. So take a look. And Jonah Kuminga, right? You already know at this point. I didn't bring one specific video about it because I'm also getting a little bit tired of the Jonah Kuminga back and forth. But the Warriors exercised their option on Jonah Kuminga, the qualifying offer. So now he's a restricted free agent. It's a 7.9 million. So it's more to see, right? If no one else offers anything for Kuminga, he's staying with the Warriors for 7.9 one more season. I think it's great for the Warriors. Would be the best scenario at this point. If not, he might receive some offer. The Warriors might explore a sign and trade. Let's see what's going on. But those, and one guy that is leaving is Pat Spencer. I know that Spencer was like a favorite for some fans because of how he comes on the roster on those garbage times, or even some moments where we needed him when Stephen Curry was out. But the Warriors haven't extended an offer on him, so we won't see Pat Spencer again, at least for now, in the Warriors roster, right? So let's walk back. Before we go there, so the California Summer, right? The California Summer is starting next week, July 10th, if I'm not wrong. And this is the roster. So there's some names. We are seeing all the rooks that we signed here. Will Richard. We also seeing Tanner Armstrong. We are seeing Alex Tuhi. And we also seen some old names like Jackson Rowe. Who else is here? The LJ Cryer, a few other names on the roster. It's going to be a massive opportunity to look at these players. And more important, if things play as I hope they play, we're going to need some of these names in the main team. So I think whoever outstands here gets a massive shot throughout the season, because I feel the Warriors is going to need, if they make the trades that we would like them to do, they're going to need some of these names in the main team. So let's talk about Giannis, right? This is a proposed Giannis trade. I just grabbed, like, I was looking around Twitter what people were offering, and I think that's one, but this one doesn't work in my opinion. And the reason that doesn't work is because the Warriors needs to do a salary match. Giannis is set to make 59 or 57 million right now. I think 59. So the Warriors need to match that. We don't have cap space. And the way that this would work, I agree with this trade. And I think if the Warriors could send these players there, I would, but you would have to add Draymond Green. I already said here, very unlikely the Warriors would trade Draymond Green. I think the only name which would make Draymond Green being out of the Warriors right now is Giannis. Unless in a very surprising move, Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Steve Kerr obviously agreeing with that, they decide that they're going to go above that first apron and the second apron potentially, because if you don't trade Draymond Green and you bring 57 million, 59 million right now to your cap space, that is going to explode everything. I don't see that happening. So I do think that the way that this trade proposal would work is these names plus Draymond Green. So you send value to Bucks, you convince them, because you also send some young players. You might have to throw some first round pick here, but you put Draymond Green there. I know Draymond Green is ups and downs, right? A lot of people love him, love the hustle. A lot of people hate him because of all the trouble that comes with. But he still was a defensive player of the year team, right? Last season, so he still has value, and I think would make things work with the Bucks. But last, before we talk about the trade, I just see Giannis coming to the Warriors if he really knocks on the door of the GM for the Bucks and say, that's where I want to go. I think if Giannis goes to the market, there's a lot of offering there, and the Warriors might not have the best assets to compete with it. Even though right now we already know the Rockets already traded for KD, there's a few movements that already happening, people that use their value and their assets. So yes, I think the Warriors are in the mix, and it would be great. And that's how it would work if Giannis comes to the Warriors. That's how I see, right? We are eliminating all those names because Green is out, Tracy Jackson, Moses Moody, and Brandon Brzezinski. So the way that and I already had Deandre Ayton here. So that would be my starting five: Jim Butler, Stephen Curry, Giannis, DeAndre Ayton, and you could have Buddy Hield there. So you have a mix of size and shooting, which is very interesting for me. And you're still under the cap space, right? The estimated cap space for next season, 2025-26, is 195 million. So you're staying here with 194, and you still need to fill those two TBD spots that you have there to complete 14 players on your roster. But it's very possible, right? And you still keep under that. So it's very interesting for the Warriors. I really like the way that this roster, you really relying on your starting five, right? You don't have much depth. It's a different goal here. But if those players can stay healthy throughout the season, that's a massive team, right? That is really a championship contender here. So that's where I see the Warriors heading right now. And I want to know your opinion. Do you think the Warriors should go for DeAndre Ayton? And should the Warriors send all those players for Giannis? Would you do that? Would you think? If not, what else would you do? You have a great day. I'm going to keep you updating you about the free agents as it starts at 3 p.m. Have a great day. See you tomorrow, and bye.